what I'm hoping, and what we're actually seeking at the firm, what we're trying very hard to fund, I'm hoping, for example, for podcasts, I'm hoping 5 years from now, there will be these thriving, call it Web3 podcast environments that will be open and will be, it will have the sort of anarchic, uncontrolled kind of element that I think you and I both like. However, we'll have a higher level of trust, and we'll have a higher level of monetary incentive and economic incentive than the open networks of the past usually did. And so there's this third way, and this is still early, but like we're quite optimistic that there might be a new way to build these systems, and I'm excited to see what happens.
But what's the concrete advantage of Web 3.0 for podcasts? So right now, you and I may not feel like it, but we are anarchic and uncontrolled, right? Like we can say something, some external force isn't going to censor us. Why is this a better podcast if it's done through Web 3.0? Why can't we just put it out there?
Yeah, well, the most obvious thing is just money. You don't get paid.
How does someone like Rogan, it doesn't have to be him, but a well-known podcast host, how does that person get paid in a better way through Web 3.0? Make that more concrete for us.
Yeah. I mean, they can pick their business model. I mean, they can pick their business model. They can decide a subscription-based business model. Microtransactions. They can pick. They can pick whatever model they want. They can also have indirect. There's this whole new rise of this kind of the non-fungible token. Kind of this idea of unique digital assets. There's completely different monetization methods that are opening up for media. It's entirely possible in the future. For example, you'll have entire forms of media like video games and sporting events and music and so forth that will monetize in completely different ways through the creation of unique digital property that gets sold and trades. And so it's injecting economics. It's injecting at a very fundamental level kind of internet native money, internet native economics and incentives into a system that simply hasn't had that. And of course, this isn't to say that everything needs to cost money. This isn't to say that lots of people won't choose to have things be free. But the ability to, let's put it this way, the hard decision between let's say total independence and no money, and then having a traditional contractual relationship with one company like that shouldn't be the trade-off. There should be lots of room in the middle for experimentation, and that's the zone we're heading into now.
But is the key difference easier micropayments? Is the key difference sort of being able to sell collectibles more readily, say with the NFT model, rather than signed T-shirts? They don't sound very big to me. They both sound like possible advantages. But as a percentage of GDP, they sound like really tiny advantages.
Well, it depends on the percentage of GDP. I mean, it's a percentage of GDP, like everything is tiny compared to like healthcare. So I mean, the media industry is quite small, right? Like if you look at slice of percentage of GDP, like it actually turns out it's actually really interesting. Like video games, it turns out is actually quite large, but like
yes.
Television, print, newspapers, have always been a tiny slice of GDP. Like magazines have always been a tiny slice. Book publishing has always been a tiny slice. But they're tiny slices that really matter. So I don't really look at it. I don't really look at it top down. I don't really look at it as like, okay, this therefore has to lead to like an expansion of 100xing the media business. Like that's not maybe I think it grows the media business, but it doesn't have to cause it to explode like that.